Hello, everybody. Welcome to Smartcat webinar series. My name is Kate, and I'm an event marketing manager here at Smartcat. And here's my colleague Pavel, who will be our speaker today. Hi, Pavel. How are you? Guys, first of all, please let us know if you can hear us well, if you can see the screen, because we already started to share it. We have here on the right side very beautiful chat. Some of you I see already said like hello, introduced themselves. So let us know if you can hear us. Please, somebody. Guys. Can you hear us? Okay, thank you so much, Anna.
Oh, hi, Anna.
Great. So before we start, let me very quickly explain how we will communicate today. As I already mentioned, we have a chat, so please use it. You can write your questions there, but also you can write your questions in the Ask a Question section, which you can see at the bottom of your screen. There are already some 6 questions in there. You can vote for the questions. For example, if you like it and you wanted to ask the same thing, then just vote, and that will help us to organize the Q&A session like properly. We will have this session at the end of the presentation, and that's it from my side. So let's start. Pavel.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Pavel. I'm a product manager at Smartcat. I'm responsible mostly for vendor management, translation automation, technologies, and so on. So if something does not work in the editor, I am responsible. So webinars are not actually my thing, but Kate asked me to do that. So every 2 years I make a webinar about machine translation. And yeah, I see a lot of people from all over the world. That's cool. From Colorado, from Poland, from Estonia. Greetings from Dublin, Ireland, where I currently am. So today's webinar is dedicated to machine translation overview and Smartcat. So I would call it Machine Translation 101. I will explain you how the best practices to use machine translation in Smartcat and what can you achieve with that. Feel free to ask questions in a special question box. And yeah, let's start. Basically, the first question is, do you actually use MT? I see someone already started answering it. Kate, I don't know. How does it work?
Yeah, guys, some of you already saw the poll we have, so let's just give you like 20-30 seconds. Those of you who didn't answer yet, please just let us know. Do you use MT? Very simple answers, yes or no.
Actually, I see people claiming that they hear a rather annoying echo. So everything looks well on my side. Kate, how is on your end?
I can just turn off my microphone. So yeah, will be.
Okay, so yeah, I see. Around 70% of people use MT, and 30% of people do not use it yet. This is kind of interesting. I thought everybody uses it because, let me share you kind of secret statistics. When I joined Smartcat, it was more than 3 years ago, every 8th word was translated with the help of MT. Right now in 2019, every second word in Smartcat is translated with the help of MT. It's not necessarily with pre-translation, but people just enable MT while translating and use the results, or they just put the MT in the segment and then post-edit it or not post-edit. So my question is, what do you think? Why people actually use machine translation? Why this technology actually disrupts the industry? And so, what do you think? What is the main reason people actually use machine translation?
So guys, please use our chat. We don't have, actually, we have an answer for this question, but we will keep it for like a minute. And we wanted to know what do you think, like, why do you need MT?
Please, please don't spoil my presentation. we didn't have an answer, but yeah. So basically, we always, speed is the key word, right? Madeline, Natalie. Exactly. Actually, the main reason companies and freelancers use machine translation is to get translations fast. And an interesting thing, if you take a look at the most popular machine translation engines, most of them, with a couple of exceptions, are actually non-linguistic companies. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Tencent, Baidu, they're non-linguistic companies. Okay, DeepL is made by linguists for linguists, but why do big IT companies, e-commerce companies invest in machine translation? Because they need to get the translations fast to enable global sales. And for Google, it's very important to show websites in your own languages to show the advertisement, to sell the advertisement, and to increase conversion rates and so on. Basically, if they rely on manual translations, they would be not successful because, for example, eBay says they have over 1 million new article descriptions every day, and all these article descriptions should be available right away in all the countries they work in. And that is why they have just simply no time to translate it manually. It does not mean that all these giants want to kill the profession of a translator. No, it changes the work of translators somehow, and we did a lot of thoughts about that as well. But so be sure. The first people in the industry, in the translation industry, who will lose their jobs are not the translators. I think project managers will be the first, but it's a topic for another webinar. So Smartcat offers a big variety of machine translation engines. They're like at your fingertips. They're available right away. The most popular ones are Google Translate, Microsoft Translator, DeepL, and all things, Some of them are paid, some of them are free. There are also options to use machine translation in Smartcat with your own key. So if you have a Google Cloud subscription, for example, you can use Google and Smartcat with your own key. This is a service we provide upon subscription, or you can just buy Google right from Smartcat. I will show you how and what value it brings. If you want to use multiple machine translation engines for different languages, for example, or just experiment with machine translation engines, you don't have to buy subscription for Google or for Microsoft separately, or you don't have to learn Chinese to get a Tencent subscription or Baidu. So everything we already did that for you, and or you can use Smartcat to use all this, to get access to all these machine translation engines. If you have kind of next level of maturity in working with machine translation and publicly available engines are not enough for you, you can also train your own engine, your own machine translation engine using your translation memories that you have collected during your last 10, 20, 30 years of translation experience. And you can use all these corpora to train, to feed it to the neural network and to get relevant results that require less post-editing. And for example, 5 years ago, you had to provide this corpora to linguists they would mark up all these concepts and so on. Right now, everybody can go, for example, to Microsoft Custom Translator, upload TMX, and pay some money for the training. Actually, I have forgotten how much does it cost, but not so much. I did it a couple of times. And train your own machine translation engine. There are some more sophisticated solutions like Systron, for example, or Globalese, 100% custom, 100% neural, how they say. You actually can connect these trained engines to Smartcat and use them with publicly available engines or separately or whatever, in any combination. I will show you how. This is not the full list of custom MT engines available in Smartcat, but 3 highlights. If you are interested in machine translation engines not listed here, let us know. Contact our support team, and we will find a way for you. So let me just show you how everything works. What are the options in using machine translation in Smartcat? I think I should share the screen again. This is my favorite part, to reshare the screen. You can enjoy my face meanwhile. So this is a generic Smartcat interface. Darwin Airlines is my test account and my airlines. So let's say you work at a smartphone manufacturer, and you have a new smartphone and you have to translate display or smartphone specification for all the markets you want to sell it. And all the specifications are here. So let's create a project. You will love RMT. And let's translate it from English into German and into, I don't know, Spanish. You can set up machine translation, what engines you want to use. The first thing is there are 2 options. You have paid machine translation engines and free ones. Currently, we have one free engine is powered by Yandex. We have a special contract with Yandex that they provide us machine translation for free for all the customers, but with one thing. So you see here on the screen, Yandex used for free. Basically, it means that if you enable Yandex, you will all your translations, post-edited translations using by Yandex, they will be sent to Yandex for further retraining. So actually, you will pay not with money, but with your work spent on post-editing. So to make a Yandex better. If you don't want to your translations to be sent to Yandex or any other third-party provider, just don't enable a free engine and use the paid ones, because we don't have any mechanism for paid engines to send the translations them. So you see, by default, I have Amazon Translate for German into Spanish, but so I can actually say, okay, I want to use DeepL for Spanish and Amazon for German. Recently, we have added Tencent. Tencent is currently the best English to Chinese and Chinese to English machine translation engine, according to the recent Intenta report. Intenta is a framework that provides unified API for all generic machine translation engines. So yeah, Tencent is one of our recent additions. Actually, so let's select, okay, DeepL for Spanish, Amazon for German, and let's see what happens. So the next step, I will just post editing. I will show you later why I did it. And okay, this is it happens always when I make demos. Something does not work. Click finish, and it is not finished. Okay. So okay, it's not okay, but yeah. So I have a multilingual project, and so if somebody here is from Germany or speaks German, please forget me if I use wrong grammar or articles and so on. I actually do speak German, but probably I'm not so perfect as native speakers. So this is a Smartcat editor, and you see here the description of my new smartphone I produced, and here in the right pane I see suggestions by Amazon, and the suggestions are for every segment here. So to use them, I can just double click and see the result here in the target text. If I like the result, I can just confirm the segment, and the segment is stored in the translation memory. So next time, so you will love RMT, yeah. Next time I have a similar text, I can use a post-edited or confirmed translation right from the translation memory. But I still have the result from Amazon. So what if, for example, I don't like the result, or I want to adjust it? So let's say, for example, something like that. This is just an example. Please, Germans, forget me, and Austrians and Swiss people as well. And I corrected. Here in the special revisions tab, I have all the history of the segment correction. And who did it? James Joyce, it's me. Greetings from Dublin. And the description. So here it was an empty insertion, and here manual input because I manually corrected it. So this is the very basic scenario how I can work with machine translation. And so I see the result, I can insert it and post-edit it. But what if I don't want to do this this action every time for every segment? Because I can have 10,000 segments. So does it mean I should have 20,000 clicks, because it's a double click? So for that, I will use a pre-translation option. It means that I can just say, okay, Smartcat, please insert machine translation, but do not confirm it because I want to review it. I can save and run. I can open the file again and see already 26% is translated, very fast. Manually confirmed. So what I see here after running the pre-translation rules, I see that everything I already have confirmed is here, but all the translations are inserted automatically. So I don't have to take a look at the right pane. I can work with this. So NFC looks good, and GPS is also the same in German. So I can confirm it. And yeah, Wi-Fi as well. So let's say I have translated it. What if if my smartphone is a successful thing and I decided to develop a new version of the smartphone, and of course I have some of the segments are, some of the characteristics are the same, but some of them are improved because it's a second version. And I have the next version of the description of the specification. So I don't want to enter them manually and so on, and I want to leverage from my translation memory. I will set up pre-translation rules. For example, use translation memory and insert all 100% matches and confirm them. If I have 99% matches, for example, or 95, insert them but not confirm them, and fill the rest with machine translation. So if I have these settings in my project, what will happen? I will upload a new file, a new version. All German and Spanish, all the same machine translation engines will be applied, and the pre-translation rules will be applied. You see, the new phone has arrived, and already 12% have been translated. So let's see what is there. I see here, okay, I see here loading data, but in a minute. So I see here a quick start guide. So we still provide quick start guide for the new smartphone. I have here 100% match from the translation memory, and yeah, the rest is filled with the machine translation. What is here? I have here machine translation result, but also translation memory. So Wi-Fi is not only 2.4 gigahertz, but also the new generation is 5.0 gigahertz. And I can insert the translation memory match and correct it, but it's faster if I use the machine translation, because actually the result is the same, and I can save money and time and the first time by inserting and manually typing plus 5.0 gigahertz. Next thing, somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Pavel, did you hear about the new machine translation engine powered by DeepL? Everybody talks about it, and it's terrible. So it's terrific for German." And I think, okay, why do I use Amazon then? Probably I want to compare them. In Smartcat, it's actually possible to use multiple machine translation engines for the same language to compare the output and to choose what is actually better. So what I do is, you see, I still have DeepL for my Spanish, and I have German, so Amazon for German. But I also can add here language and use DeepL for German and Amazon for German. So I can use two engines for the same language. So let's also compare it with Yandex and with Google. Let's see what is better. Please note, since Yandex is free, it's okay, but Google, DeepL, and Amazon are paid engines, and you have to pay for three different engines if you use them simultaneously. This is kind of a tricky thing, but I will get back to it later. How you can use it in a more efficient way. So what happens now is, when I open the German file, I will see results from my translation memory. Okay, still loading. Results from my translation memory, but also I will see results from different machine translation engines, and you see there are quite different results. So Amazon translates as Kurzanleitung, but DeepL says Kurzanleitung zur Inbetriebsnahme. So kind of industrial, with the industrial touch, and Google says kind of a synonym, which is also fine, and Yandex says Kurzanleitung. So and you can actually select, okay, probably this one is better, so I can use Google for that, and then start it. So this is how you can select the best possible machine translation for your own type of content, because every day dozens of people ask our support team, guys, can you recommend what machine translation is better. And then we just ask questions. Okay, what language pair do you have? What type of content it is? Because and even the support team are not experts. There is a large matrix. For example, as I mentioned before, Tencent is now one of the best English to Chinese machine translation engines. But if you want to translate from Chinese into English something legal, for example, so Google might be better for the same language pair but different domain. Basically, if you take a short excerpt of your text and compare machine translations, different engines, you can select the one that requires less post editing for your specific type of content and for your specific language pair, and then just switch off all other machine translation engines to save your money, and add the rest. So add your main project, your main files to the project and translate them by selecting the best possible engine. And our next step, actually, what we want to implement in Smartcat, we want to learn what results you choose actually, and to suggest you, okay, it looks like Amazon is the best possible engine for your specific project, and then just to switch off the engines for you and to show you the results only from Amazon if we notice that Amazon results are the closest results to the human translation or to the post-edited content. This is what we are going to implement next year, just to provide you the best experience with the machine translation and to save your time on manual selection of the best possible engines. But right now, you have this option. You can do it manually on short pieces of text to select what is the best. And we continue adding new engines to Smartcat so that you have the biggest choice ever. So till the end of the year, we are going to add 3 more engines for you to compare. I cannot spoil the names yet. We're still negotiating, but yeah, expect more from Smartcat. So yeah, as I said, you can pay. You can buy services. We actually have them as pages. You can buy 500 pages or 1,000 or more. So the more you buy, the more discount you have, and it actually is a price for all the engines. You can select any engine. We're going to change pages to characters next year, because pages is not a transparent metric for machine translation, because if you talk about OCR, so a page is a clear thing, it's a picture. In machine translation, a page can be different, because Chinese people say a page is 200 characters. A German norm for page is I don't remember. So different thing. Russian page is 1,800 characters. So the metrics are different. So we're going to change it to more universal thing to the characters. So back to the project. Okay, it's actually. Yeah, back to the project. So let's say I know German, I can post edit in German, or I can just hire someone for me, but I have no idea about Spanish, for example. And what can I do with Spanish? And I still need a translation to Spanish. So I can hire someone from a marketplace. Okay. Yeah, I can hire someone from a marketplace to translate my Spanish description. So there are a lot of Okay, you cannot scroll down. There are a lot of freelancers in Smartcat Marketplace, but I need the ones who provide post-editing services. Actually, to post-edit machine translation is not the same thing as post-editing of human translation, because everybody makes mistakes, but and machines as well. But machines do to make other mistakes, and the new neural engines there provide a high level of fluency, but this fluency might make you think that the translation is correct, but the devil is when you look deeper into details. So MT post editing is kind of a new pivot of a career in translation. So we have here, so you see some people, I can hire them, but in Smartcat Marketplace, everybody can say, okay, I do machine translation post editing. What if you want to be 100% sure that the person is able to work with machine translation? You can take a look at rating and at reviews, but also we have a partnership with Taos, and Taos provides courses for post-editing, where they teach translators how to deal with machine translation, what kind of mistakes are to be expected there, some practical tasks, and so on. And people who actually graduated from Taos post-editing course, they can claim a badge Smartcat, and customers can find them, like, for example, course passed. So I see here, for example, Marisa passed course in general for English to Spanish translation, and I can hire her, or I can hire Josh, for example. If you pass the course, the Taos course, just contact our support team and get this page on Smartcat Marketplace. So it's actually a win-win situation. Customer can find a certified post editor on Marketplace, and certified post editors can actually find more clients to deal with machine translation. And Taos can sell their courses. That is also good for the industry, that more people know how to deal with machine translation. So, as I said, every second word in Smartcat is translated with the help of MT. So I will not hire Josh right now, because so it will be like a fake notification for him. This is actually not all, but main flow how we can use machine translation in a more efficient way. So you can just use MT as suggestions in the right pane. You can fill the target, the empty target cells with MT. You can confirm MT and to check, for example, the final layout of the file before you even translate. So use some software developers use pseudo translation, but machine translation is also a good thing. For example, to check if your application supports Chinese characters, for example. Okay, guys, let me check if you have questions so far in the question box.
Yeah, Pavel, actually, we also wanted to show vendor marketplace that you can now not only hire freelancers, but also companies for post editing. I would just add this part. And
that's a good point. Yeah, you see, my client, Daronian Airlines, has a vendor. It's called Daronian Railways. So I can hire a company also and assign to the machine translation. So actually, basically in Smartcat, you can work with both freelancers and translation companies. And translation companies can get also jobs from clients via Smartcat. So let me go through the questions. So one from Oscar: how do I pay for post editing? Yeah, This is a tricky thing. Actually, currently Smartcat supports payment per word, but I know translators hate this thing because imagine I apply a machine translation that I have chosen, and I assign a post editor. But post editors do not influence my choice of the machine translation. So it means that I can choose I can select a crop so that the post editor will translate the same content from scratch, but get the payment for a post editing service. It means some clients can save money for actual translations. So I suggest translators, if they're hired for a post editing job and they see that the translation, the machine translation is a crap, just to reject the order, and that's it. The more fair thing is an hourly based rate, so that a customer actually pays for the time that a post editor spends on post editing. This is actually so it becomes more and more popular. It has another side that customers and freelancers should have trust, because time tracking is a thing that can be hacked, and customers afraid, okay, what if I assign a post editor to a job and he or she gets a coffee while translating, and so trying to get more money for that. So this is another issue, but we are working on so we're doing research on how to implement actually smart time tracking on the segment level to notice the idle moments and moments of work. So to be fair for both translators and customers, because we're highly interested in translators adopting our platform so that customers can find translators to do their jobs. So this is a short answer to this question. So yeah, a question from Madeline.
Wait, just one sec, please. First of all, guys, I know that it's already 40 minutes and we promised you a 30-minute session. So if you need to leave for some reason, don't worry. The recording will be sent to you tomorrow in the follow-up letter, and you will also have a chance to rewatch this webinar here in our Crowdcast channel. That's the first thing I want to say. And the second, I'm moving all the questions from chat to ask a question section. So Pavel, let's go through the questions in the ask a question section. It will be more organized then, okay?
Okay, so let's go through the most upvoted one. What is the best cat tool for translators? Of course, Smartcat. So yeah, what answer do you expect from me? Yeah, I'm making Smartcat and I recommend it to the freelancers. Of course, it's not perfect, but who is? Okay, please clarify the concept of the post-editing distance, which is the percentage of the changes that needs to be made in MT output in order to get quality up to human translation standards. Yeah, this is a good question. And right now, my team is thinking about the implementation of the post-editing reports or change reports to get reports of all the corrections that are made and the time spent on these corrections and the post-editing distance. It is actually a special formula introduced, so based on Levenstein work. Yeah, it shows a special number that shows how many changes are made in the MT output in order to make this text readable or according to standards of the customer. And I know some clients use this distance metric to calculate the payment for the post editor. It did make sense previously, but now so if you use a well-trained machine translation engine, for example, and the editing distance can be so up to 0, because some of the translations do not require actually any changes, but Posteditor still has to go through them to validate them. And despite the fact that it's kind of a zero changes, but you still spend time on it. So that is why this metric is kind of questionable for calculating the payments, but it's still good for getting an overview how good is the machine translation applied to the project. Because if you have a lot of changes, it means that okay, probably the machine translation engine is not the best choice for this type of content, or if it's a trained one, so the question would be how well it has been trained, or maybe it should be adjusted. Okay, so I hope I answered the question. If not, sorry. Yeah, what adaptive neural MT would you work with or recommend? Adaptive neural MT is a big thing, and we a couple of years ago we had it in Smartcat. So for those who don't know what it is, it's actually a neural machine translation which adapts to your input on the fly. So it's basically something between machine translation, auto suggestion, or text prediction and translation memory. So it's kind of a mixed thing, and I personally really believe in this technology, and we had it implemented in Smartcat from one provider, but so since then our ways have been split. But we still have the idea to implement it with another provider, and I hope you will have something in Smartcat next year. And we do our best to provide it for free, at least for freelancers, to make their work more efficient and to bring them to the bright future of translation technology. So right now I cannot I cannot say that adaptive MT is available in Smartcat, but you can see what it is if you go to DeepL, for example, and see translate something and then correct the translation. Just look what happens. The same I think works in Yandex web interface, and as far as I know, Google Translate does something similar. So yeah, of course, we are highly interested in implementing something similar in Smartcat, so to make translators work better and more efficient. Okay. Yeah, for a new company, how long will it take? Would the onboarding process take? So just contact our support team and we will walk you through the onboarding process. Actually, we're proud that Smartcat does not take a lot of time to learn how actually everything works. And for example, for a translator, average time is 30 minutes to learn all the functions, and we work hard on implementation of onboarding chains and so on.
Okay.
Usually, yeah. So what are fresh news about Chinese MT? Yeah. So you have at least 3 machine translation engines from the Chinese providers, GTCom, Baidu, and Tencent. Right now, in Smartcat, just try them. And yeah, according to the Intento report, Tencent is the best one. Of course, Microsoft and Google also have Chinese language, both traditional, simplified, and even Cantonese. A version of Chinese is also available for machine translation. Which of the MT tools in Smartcat respect GDPR? Are they customizable, or should we work on present parameters? Very good question. GDPR is on one side a good thing, on the other side is not a good thing, because So we had to remove Microsoft free translation engine from Smartcat because of the GDPR. Microsoft terminated their program of free machine translation. So if you're interested in terms, we provide for in terms of the MT vendors, just no, we use the same terms and conditions that are listed on the website of the machine translation vendors. So, for example, for Google, just go to Google Translate API website and see the terms and conditions. So we have the same, so no corrections. So if nothing is mentioned about GDPR on the MT vendor website, for example, Tencent or Baidu, actually, I'm not sure if the GDPR compliant. So it means so you can use them your own risk, but if you're not sure, don't use them. So MTs are now not customizable right from the interface. As I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, you can use your own API key. You can do it via support team, and you can use your own trained engines. So please contact our support team. These things are available upon subscriptions. But from the interface, you cannot select a model, for example, yet if you have multiple models for the same language. But we're working on that as well. I have discussed it with one of the customers right before the webinar. Can I use Smartcat editor without MT engines using my existing TMs only? Yeah, sure. Just do not enable checkbox with the machine translation and use it as an old school cat editor. So it's possible. So we don't force to use MT. If you don't want to, don't do it. How can a translator in the marketplace be sure the client is genuine? What are safeguards in place for the translator? Yeah, it's a good question. A big pain for our marketplace. Currently, we have an internal trust increase program for the marketplace. So we try to validate and verify the customers who use marketplace to give more protection to the customers. I think colleagues from the marketplace team will tell more about that and probably make a dedicated webinar for that. But just a short answer, be sure we are really worried about that. And so we work on that to increase trust for clients and so to make sure that they pay their works. White labeling, does your product allow? Okay, this is not MT related question, but the answer is yes. Contact our support team. We will explain you how white labeling works, and so you can replace the logo and do some customization.
Pavel, sorry, let's do the following. We left like maybe 7 minutes, and we have 11 questions more. Let's choose maybe 3. Like the best one you think is important to answer now, and the rest we will take for later. I will just comment the answers here, so don't worry, all your questions will be answered. Can you please just choose like a 3 MT related and more general ones?
For that, I should read them, but yeah. Okay, so quality control, it's a good question. Everybody wants to have an overview how good is the selected machine translation. And as I said, we are working on this reporting tool that allows project managers and translators as well to get an overview what has been changed, how many changes were made in the machine translation, how much time has been spent, and so on. I cannot tell you when you can get this, but so be sure we are working on that as well, because the demand is higher and higher every day. People want to know if they have selected the machine translation engines properly or if they have trained them properly. So about the payment, yeah, actually you have both options. You can buy machine translation via Smartcat and do not care about any subscription with the third-party vendors. You can also use your own subscription for the MT engine in Smartcat. A fee structure of the post-editing, yeah, I have already explained it. How fast is the machine translation? Oh, this is one of my favorite things. Actually, the most machine translation engines are fast. Basically, you can get a result as soon as we get the result from the vendor. But some of the engines are just out of beta. For example, Tencent engine, and so the performance might be not so good, and you can wait probably for 5 minutes to get machine translation results, because at Smartcat we always try and retry to obtain machine translation if we don't get the results. And of course, everybody has blackouts. Smartcat, Google, Microsoft, everyone has blackouts, and there are some cases when machine translation is obtained not right away, and we have a special mechanism that do not charge you for the machine translation that has been failed. If it's a case, please contact our support team. We're always loyal to these cases, and we always do refunds if something goes wrong. But the number of these cases is currently very low, because we implemented a couple of protection mechanisms this year, and we also request machine translation asynchronously in different flows, so to bring you machine translation as fast as possible.
Pavel, let's take the last question. If you scroll down, I like this one. Can we see machine translation as an opportunity rather than a threat, knowing that it affects the prices and sometimes it's time-consuming?
So yeah, as I said in the beginning, machine translation is not a threat. If you mean like a threat to a translator, so translators do not lose their jobs, believe me, because yeah, definitely machine translation changes the landscape of translations, but the number of content grows every day. I think during this webinar, so much content has been produced in the whole, I don't know, 1980 for the whole year. So it's insane how much content goes online every second. And of course, there is a limited number of human translators. So in my opinion, the human translation will become a premium service. And the positive effect of the machine translation is, okay, some companies use machine translation, but if they require human translation, they will be ready to pay more. And yeah, this can have a positive effect. And of course, the more creative things like marketing, or for example, subtitling translation of, I don't know, Netflix series, machine translation cannot be applied there in a more efficient way. So as for example, for legal or technical translation. And game localization. So I know some companies experiment with it for the game interfaces, but generally it's still a human work, because it requires transcreation and so on. So the positive effect would be that translators will be better paid and they will have more creative tasks. This is my opinion, but so it might be not 100% so right and true, but yeah. This is what I think on this topic.
Okay.
So definitely you will not lose your jobs if you're translators. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So guys, we left like 6 questions, but we will answer them in the comments. Just you can go back to this session tomorrow and you will see these answers. For now, I just want to say thank you for your participation. We have a lot of questions. That's great. Pavel, thank you so much for your time. And let me just quickly announce that next Thursday, we will have a webinar about OCR. So in case if you deal in your projects with PDFs, with scanned documents, this one will be really useful for you. So join. I will send a link to join this webinar right to the chat to make it easier. Yeah, this one, right. And see you next time. Thank you for your time again. Thank you, Pavel.
Thank you, Kate, for inviting me, and thank you, dear audience, for listening to it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.